Shalom. All praises to Yahweh, by Shem Yahushai, by Shem Harakal Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone of all world. Shalom to all the brothers doing the work of Syrian in truth. Yeah. Got some wild shit going down in Kazakhstan. It's funny because I think it's kind of been there on the back burner, but it just kind of blew up recently to where I'll play the video. It's like you see some of the scenes there, the shit is looking absolutely wild. Because the title's what? Kazakhstan unrest. BBC witnesses apocalyptic scenes in main city. He's not wrong. That shit is looking hella apocalyptic, man. It says what? The authorities appear back in control, but the city is reeling from the violence. There's a video. Okay, let me read a bit before I play it. It says Kazakhstan's biggest city, Almaty, looks like something from an apocalypse film. Well, that's because we're in that time, man. So driving around early on Friday morning, the smell of burnt vehicles was still in the air. Few people were about. Many too afraid to come out into the street. The army and the police are blocking key sites in the city, which has been a focal point of nationwide protests against the government. When we approached soldiers at the main square, they shouted at us and fired warning shots in the air, warning us not to come close. And imagine these guys probably have those press bulletproof vests on to let man know as well. Or maybe not, because the guy in the video didn't have it on. Not to come close. I've been coming to Almaty for years. It's normally a bustling city with lots of greenery and places to eat out and drink. Now though, shops and banks have been looted or destroyed. It will take some time for them to recover. Much of the damage is around the big main square the protesters first went to when the demonstrations began. Media buildings nearby were attacked, and the mayor's office burnt down. It is pitch black now, having been engulfed by black smoke.
And it's the far. You can hear again the shots, but maybe it's the.
Well, you can see in the background, bruv, that building is fucking absolutely torched. The one on the left is actually wild, and the one behind him, you can tell there's been fires there. There's some bombed out fucking cars. But that shit is wild. Like, them man went in, man. Them man were going in.
Military and police officers are firing into the air to warn people not to approach the square.
That shit's done up. Bruh, the shit is just man's truck for taking his fucking cows to town, man, to sell some milk or whatever the fuck. That shit's bombed out, man. The shit's done out.
Террористы по-прежнему наносят ущерб государственному и частному имуществу, применяют оружие.
Yeah, man gave them just said, look, open fire. No matter what the disturbance, you man can just open fire and laying them down. Bruh, that's peak. That's what you man have done. Bruh, man are just gonna be firing willy-nilly, bruv.
Оружие в отношении граждан.
We haven't seen any signs of protests taking place in Almaty today, but we cannot say that it's quiet because we heard shooting and some explosions. Earlier today, when we drove past, we saw some dead bodies inside cars. Maybe these people tried to storm in and drive through the police cordon during the clashes, or maybe they were simply caught up during the standoff.
Это реально страшно, потому что...
Oh, this guy's at the fruit, man. As far as there, it's peak. And that's like having the city cordoned off. Bruv, it's all kinds of hell. Man a toast, because hey, the military's out with force. At that point, hey, all we can do is pray to Yahweh Hashem Yahshua, Hashem Harakakadash.
Мы чувствуем себя вне безопасности, и мы не защищены ни нашим государством. Ну и это показало, наверное, несостоятельность вообще.
Some of the biggest clashes took place here at the former presidential residence and the mayor's office.
Yeah, that shit looked wild. Well done.
Some of the biggest.
Yeah, it's kind of nuts. But it shows, hey, that civil unrest, man. That's the thing. This is like Eastern Europe. Right next to him, between China and Russia. So it's proper in that. Hey, these guys are kind of wild. Them former Soviet states, them guys are used to it, bro. Them men come from that time where it's you say the wrong thing, man. You just disappearing, man. You're getting dropped down a well. So yeah, it's a fucking mess.
Biggest clashes took place here at the former presidential residence and the mayor's office. The buildings were burned down, and you can see here all these cars were also set on fire. It's still not clear who those people who clashed with police forces are. Protesters say that their movement is peaceful and it was the authorities who provoked the violence.
Yeah. This one is peak. Man have the shoot on sight order. To start. I said any further protest and you're just gonna get fucking wigged. You know, if you try and go out and say like, can I have some food? You're gonna get wigged, man. Says what, we saw no signs of protest on Friday, just a small group of people gathering near the destroyed buildings to take photos on their phones. But we could still hear shooting and explosions, which may have been the stun grenades. When I first arrived, I thought there was fog, then realized it was more likely to be smoke from grenades and fireworks. Several residents I spoke to were shocked and angry. These protests are unprecedented in Kazakhstan, and many here are surprised that they spread and turned violent so quickly. Some of them I spoke to are glad to see forces arrive from Russia and other neighboring countries, hopeful they will restore order. Yeah, I believe Russia, because I got pinged about Russia. I think first it said the main guy in Kazakhstan said he was stepping down. Then he just come back and said, yeah, Russia's back in the team. And then that was it. It was done. The resort. One woman told me the government should have been firmer from the start. If they'd used force in the very beginning, this unrest wouldn't have happened, she said. Maybe they were worried about condemnation, that they use weapons, but you see now what this approach has led to. I mean, that's kind of hilarious. But amid the anger at the violence, there was sympathy for the protesters too. Many of the demonstrators came from rural areas where pay is low and life is tough. It says, I understand the demands of the protesters, said one man, a 22-year-old cook. We can see that our salaries are not growing. Most of our population is struggling, but this is now looting and hooliganism. Ordinary people are suffering now. It must be stopped. Yeah, it's got peak for them, man. It says Almaty residents now face food shortages with big supermarkets closed. Shops that are open only take cash, but it's difficult to find somewhere to withdraw. You meant said they burned the banks down, didn't they? That's kind of wild. Yeah, it says now those shops and banks have been looted or destroyed. It'll take time to recover. That's funny still. Okay. So man, burn down banks, burn down supermarkets. Man can only take cash. Yeah. Well, you know, sounds like the perfect scenario for for a Karagma to just come in and be like, hey, you utilize this system instead. No one can rob you for this. Says, but it's difficult to find withdraw money. There's no internet, and even getting a taxi seems too risky. Yeah. So, the interesting information says is what plans to raise fuel prices triggered these demonstrations, but there is also widespread discontent against the government. So it says after the resignation reversing it. There's something else as well. Okay, yeah. So it says what? Kazakhstan, the basics. It says where it is, Kazakhstan shares border with Russia to the north and China to the east. It's a huge country the size of Western Europe. It says why does it matter? A former Soviet republic, which is mainly Muslim, with a large Russian minority. It has vast mineral resources with 3% of global oil reserves and important coal and gas sectors. Yeah. So it's basically got a lot of resources, and that means a lot of interest. And it being next to Russia, the West is gonna have a vested interest, just like they get involved with Ukraine, just like with Crimea before it. They're basically gonna try and not have a what's it called? Russia kind of run away with it, man. Read this, Revelation 6:4. And it says, and there went out another horse that was red, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, and that they should kill one another. And there was given unto him a great sword. Yeah. That sword, man, that red horse, Esau, man. Esau and his power. His power was what? To take peace from the earth. And that's what he's done. He's basically made it. So this place is the earth has been a constant war zone. The earth that was meant to be a paradise has been a nothing but perpetual battle, man. That's because why as well? His blessing, man, was the sword. He said, "What by the sword shalt thou live." And that's how he's got by. Let me read this. 2 Esdras 15:16. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. A man should desire to go into a city and shall not be able, for because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and the men shall be afraid. Yeah. That sedition, that conflict, that war, these things are what? Hey, we're in the midst of the time of, man. And yeah, bro, it's raw. As you can see, it's like it's coming to pass. Because that's the thing is these men said there hadn't even been protests like these on that scale before, and then one. Now whether there's Asian provocateurs in there making things happen, which more likely than not there is as well, because like they said, it's never seen protests like that. It's kind of wild, but then again, it's also shit could be hella peak, man. Could be men out there that like, yo, my fucking kid just starved to death or some shit. But hey, it's that time where there's that conflict, where there's that sedition. Says what? Second Habakkuk 2:2, and it says, and the Lord Yahweh Hashem Yahushua answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry. Yeah. The vision speaking, man. And that's what we're in the time of. That's why it's it's people like, oh, I've never seen anything. Now is the time of when shit's gonna be popping off, man. Even you got now with what's his name, Djokovic in Australia. Man's getting roundhouse kicked out of Australia, because he hasn't got he doesn't got the juice. These things are becoming a big point of contention, and it's leaning. You got in the US, what's his name? Joe Biden pushing his thingy. What do you call it? The mandatory mandate through. And what's the date today? Today's I think the 8th. So I think January 10th would be when he said the one through Usher, where you basically have to get a bunch of private companies would basically have to deal with the mandate as well. So that's in the courts, and that's being spoken about. And it's funny because, what did Joe Biden say before? He said about the charagma as well. Said what, when it's talking to the court justices, as they call them, the Supreme Court justices. He said you guys are gonna have to cover this, man. Talking about the charagma, you guys are gonna have to make a decision on this during your tenure. And hey, that's having to happen, man. Fucking hell. Because that's what's next. That's what where it's gonna go. Because once a grant this is all laying the groundwork. The groundwork's been laid, man. The pipes have been spread. The shit can move swiftly. Once the groundwork's laid, hey, it's gonna be utilized. All this chaos as well, it's gonna be used to justify it. Matthew 24:6, and it says what? And ye shall have wars and rumors of wars. See ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. All these things are happening, and further that are waiting to come down even more harshly, man. Like these men said, there's famines, it's gonna get worse. A lot of shit as well is a lot of the government aids that been basically helping people get by for the longest since the first lockdown started. Those things are gonna evaporate into thin air, and then people are gonna have that huge wave of oh shit, is this what it really is? Because you had for a little while as well, a lot of places, people haven't been willing to work because they basically had the the government aid there. Once that's gone, it's gonna flip. because more people are gonna work, but less people are gonna have money, man. So it's gonna get peak. And as far as the famines, yeah, a lot of these food industries and industries where they provide you know foodstuffs, they've had hella shortages, which has resulted in less food produced. That means, hey, shortages down the line. The storage, the backup vaults are not as full. All these things, which, hey, for people, it's just gonna come like a bolt from the blue. But it's all there. It's all there. It's all been building up, man. It says, all these are the beginning of sorrows. Then shall I deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. And then shall many be offended, and shall betray one another, and shall hate one another. Yeah. Gonna have what do you call it? They shall have the whole world basically coming against those that teach us truth, man. Those that teach us word. Those that mention the name of Yahweh Shai. Because why? Just as it's always been, just like in the time of Acts. Those that are going out teaching us truth, teaching his name. That's not desired, man. It's not desired within Esau's realm. Esau basically knows that as far as it's truth, it means the end of whatever he's doing on this side, man. Once Jake aroused up, it's a wrap. Yeah, people are gonna be turning on one another. It's gonna be every man for himself. It's gonna be like the road where people just trying to be like, hey, look, oh please, can I just have one tin of beans? Then he's trying to fucking slit your throat. It's gonna get even more raw than it is. And people, you can already tell, man, that love of many's disappeared, man. But yeah, hey, Kazakhstan is peak, man. We'll see what happens. But yeah, Shalom, Yahweh Shemir Shah, Shalom.